Hi, I am Dr. Grace. I am a physical therapist, and I like to think of myself as the feelings PT. So, feelings come and go. You are not your feelings, but they need to be experienced and expressed, especially if they are keeping you from the present moment. So today we're going to do a little exercise around what it means to have your feelings and how to work with them. My intention is to give you a lot more exercises to work with your own feelings and to process your own feelings. And the hopes would be that the more you understand your feelings and how to work with them in your body, the more receptive you are in the present moment to connection. So it's kind of a relational exercise. First, we're relating to the self. And then once we can relate to the self, we can extend and relate to others. Or we can have relationship with others help us to relate to ourselves. So it's kind of like a multifaceted approach. But really, we're always coming back to the body. So I always appreciate from my teachers and my mentors when they share their own experiences. So letting go of the guru mentality and really owning that being human means that we get to practice this and that I am practicing my own and I'm no separate from you. We get to practice together. We get to practice on our own. Everyone's practicing. And I really appreciate that. So that's why I'm going to open up with a little vulnerability and share how it is for me. So when there is an upset can be a conflict. It can be a conflict with work. It could be a conflict with your relationship. It could be a conflict with a friend. There's a conflict, and it's relational in that there's another, right? So the other could be you. It could be a conflict internally, but noticing that yes, there's a conflict and there is something that is upsetting. So what happened? That's the first pause. When we notice that we're in an upset or we're in a conflict, we might get trapped in how we always handle upset and always handle conflict. So the first thing is to just see if you can take a pause and slow down. The pause might be the hardest part. It can be for me. So just pausing, slowing down, noticing, I'm feeling upset. Okay. And then see if you can ask, what's really happening right now? Often, many times, a lot of times, when there is an upset, there's so much going on in the past in that moment. So, for example, with my own sharing, I have a sensitivity to my name being said loud. And it's alarming for my nervous system. So if someone shouts my name, I immediately feel alerted to danger. And that is called a coupled response. So I hear my name loudly, I have an automated response, which is a fear-based response, one of alarm. And my body becomes very alert and I feel stress hormones rush through my body. So my breathing will slow down. And coupling means that it's a very automated reaction that's happening. It's like an automatic pairing. I hear my name yelled or even spoken loudly, and automatically my nervous system responds with fear. And this is likely something that really developed in my past. And if I go back to investigate that, I'll understand why. So in the present moment, my name was said loud. I had a reaction of alarm and fear. And then my reaction of alarm and fear just went back and triggered the other person who said my name loud. And there's history there that is their business, so we won't get into that. But for me, what really happened was I heard my name loudly spoken, and I noticed I have a startled response to that. So my nervous system reacted in a way that wasn't really appropriate for what really happened. And that's how we know that it's more likely carried over from the past. So that's what really happened. My name was said loud. I had an automatic response of fear. What does that feel like in my body? Let's pause and go into that. So when I hear my name spoken loudly, it's a startle. So there's a bit of a gasp that happens, and I can feel my eyes try to focus. I can feel my ears try to focus. It almost feels like every cell in my body is preparing for something that's scary. So my heart rate's going up a little bit and my hands are feeling clammy. And then my stomach kind of has this like pitted feeling to it. And so when you're experiencing these body sensations, you can also try to name the feeling. And I've already verbalized it because I have practiced. So I have words and language around feelings, but that would be the next step. So I'm feeling these sensations, I'm experiencing these sensations, and the emotional feeling I have is fear-based. I'm afraid. I feel very afraid and scared and sad that I feel scared when my name is spoken loudly. And so I feel the fear like mostly in my chest, and I feel sadness in my eyes. So I'm going to pause and I'm going to be with these really big emotions. And I'm just going to look at them. I'm going to make some space for them. I'm going to welcome them here. So I might close my eyes, but I'm here with you and you get to witness me doing this. Okay, and when I start to look at these, that's what then brings the story to the past. So we get to be curious about what happened to little Grace. And my first memory that comes to mind, I had a friend who, for some reason, whenever she said my name, to me, it sounded annoyed. So she put an emphasis on E, so Gracie. And I used to go by Gracie when I was little. That's a very vulnerable piece of information. It's special to me. So I went by little Gracie, and she would say Gracie. And I felt like, okay, my name can be said in a way that feels not loving. And this was another kid, and I was young. I was probably, I'm thinking 8. So that's the first memory that came up for me, just child interacting and kids being kids, right? But there's more there. So I grew up with a parent who had some unpredictable anger. And so I was very alert to when that could possibly happen. And I'm thinking that something happened in the tone of the way my name was said to alert me that I'm trouble. And that's kind of common. Like it's in movies too. Like if the parent is calling over the kid and they say it in a certain way, so the kid like really knows they're in trouble. Um, that's what's coming up for me. So I was really, really young, and I remember being just a kind of a baseline scared sometimes. And that's for the unpredictability of anger. And anger is actually a really, really healthy feeling, and we'll get into that later. It can switch into rage, and then without containment from an adult, so without an adult containing that emotion and reminding children around them that they're not in trouble and it's not about them and that they're actually safe, this is just a feeling. Without that separation, then it can feel very alarming and dangerous to children in a home. So that's what comes up for me. So I can see that when someone says my name now in a louder volume, 4-year-old Gracie is in the room and has a startled response. So we get to work on uncoupling that. And the point here is this is a curiosity exercise for what's happening in you, in me. And I don't need to go down a rabbit hole of, well, she said, I said, and it really wasn't fair. Like, you don't really have to get trapped in the narrative. This is about taking care of your experience and leaning into what's happening for you and slowing down. So an uncoupling exercise, we'll get into that in future episodes, but this is a really gentle introduction into what body-based exercises and body-based awareness and language and understanding and curiosity and gentleness can really do to help your nervous system and your tissues as they start to enter into responsive territory. And it's more reactive, actually. We want to really learn how to slow down and respond appropriately. But first, we have to just be curious about our reactions. So now that we've called out little Gracie is scared, we want to take care of her. Okay, so for me, I'm noticing my hands are on my body. So kind of right where I was feeling that fear, my hands are just holding me here. I'm going to tune into that. And I'm going to try just some vibrational humming. One of my teachers, Dr. Peter Levine, he uses VU. And I love VU. Anyone who studies with him really appreciates the VU sound. So I'll demonstrate that here. Okay, so feeling the warmthness and the weight of my hands in these places that feel fear right now. I'm noticing some tension in my jaw and my shoulders. And I'm just going to be with that right now. And as I turn in and bring my own presence and my own love to this space, I feel my tissues already softening. I feel my energy starting to shift back down towards my pelvis and away from my neck and my shoulders. And I'm going to take a nice breath, and then I'm going to VU it out. Mm-hmm. VU. And a little burping discharge there. VU. So now I'm noticing my face feels much softer. My heart rate is slowed down. My eyes feel kind of like soft and a little fuzzy, but sharp. And yeah, my shoulders feel more relaxed. So now I can connect to my feet and my pelvis a little bit more with a little more ease. And I'm just going to do a little reminder to little Gracie that she's here right now. She's not there. And all that happened was her name was said a little loudly. She's actually not in danger. And she's okay. And I've got her. And I can feel they trust me. So if you're holding on to this now, this little bit of regulation you just gave yourself, which is the slowing of the heart rate, I can feel more moisture in my mouth. My hands are still a little clammy. Those are coming back. But my digestion kicked in with those burps, and my spine feels a little bit more kind of grounded, and my shoulders don't feel as tensed. So if now I come back to the relationship that this started with from this space, then my egoic narrative might not take over. This is a real big opportunity for me to heal and to work on uncoupling the reactive response of little Gracie responding to what feels like a startle response with my name being said loudly. Anyways, this is part of the work. What does this have to do with physical therapy? Really, it has everything to do with physical therapy. So if we don't turn inward and acknowledge what's happening, then we might finish our day with our shoulders up. We might finish our day with our jaw clenched. And that can develop into other issues like a shoulder mobility issue, a neck mobility issue, or a tendonitis issue from clenching or holding too much. It's turning inward, it's slowing down. And so just to wrap up for today, I did talk about what the intention of this YouTube channel is. And I also talked about how to acknowledge an upset by first taking a pause and noticing what's happening inside, and then calling out what happened, like really saying out loud what's actually happening versus the narrative that you think is happening or the reactive narrative that you're following down. We're interrupting that with a pause and calling out reality. And then I'll get into everything else I did at later episodes. So thank you so much for joining me on this journey. I'm here with you. You can do this. And the people around you will feel it. You'll feel it. And I imagine your body will really feel it. And maybe some things around your pelvis will really start to shift once we can do more grounding innately. It's through your own process that you ground. It's not me telling you to ground. So there's a difference there. Thank you for joining me. I see you. I welcome you, all of you. And I hope that your day is, I hope that your day feels a little slower in kind of a beautiful way. So you can just notice a little bit more around you, a little bit more in you. Okay.